Okay, hello and welcome, Chris here, and today I have a huge announcement for anyone that wants to get traffic, which I would wager is every single person who's watching this video right now. And I'm going to show you what I think is the most powerful traffic method that I've ever come across, and take it from someone who spent over $1 million on traffic. This is really something special. Just before I get into it though, just a quick recap on why now is the time to profit with Twitter. So yesterday we talked about a number of ideas, and we basically introduced the kind of fundamentals of traffic. And one of the things that we did look at was the idea that all traffic is not created equal. And in particular, the quality of traffic varies dramatically. And so we don't just want any kind of traffic. We want a very specific type of traffic, which is targeted traffic. And in an ideal world, we want buyer traffic, i.e. traffic of people who've bought a similar product to the one that we want to sell them. And in a super ideal world, not only do we want buyer traffic, but we actually want recent buyer traffic. So, the holy grail of traffic is basically a constant stream of people who've recently bought a similar product to the one that we want to sell them. And if we can find a way to kind of turn that into a repeatable system that we can constantly tap into that kind of flow of leads, then we've just got a huge advantage over everyone else, not just on Twitter, but also on Google and Facebook, and indeed any other platform. Now, the background to this is that Facebook ads is kind of the de facto go-to method for traffic generation in 2015, but the issue is that Facebook ads is getting harder, and kind of my instinct looking back over a decade of buying traffic is that it may well be going the same way as Google AdWords in 2008, where there are increasing competition, increasing bid prices, compliance issues, and it just became more and more difficult for people to profit. So everyone's kind of looking at Facebook ads, but I really think the big opportunity right now is Twitter ads. There's a number of reasons for that. It's a huge platform, not as big as Facebook, not as big as Google, but still massive. There's 316 million users, so way more than all of us put together could even hope to actually make full use of. And because there's low competition, the traffic at the moment is relatively cheap. And all of this is true, but really the one reason that I'm so excited about Twitter is because of tailored audience. Tailored audiences, which are basically these audiences that we can build within Twitter, a list of usernames essentially, which we can then only advertise to. So instead of having to, target via specific methods, we can just build this very targeted list, this audience, import it into Twitter, and then advertise it. So all of these things mean that now is the time to take action, start profiting with Twitter before the word gets out and before everyone else jumps on it in 2016. And yesterday I gave you two kind of methods that we could use to find buyers in Twitter. Received well over 50 emails from people saying thank you, including some six-figure marketers who really hadn't come across that method before. And so it really was a kind of fresh approach that we went through yesterday, but today is the big one, and today is the one that I'm most excited about. So really excited to show you this stuff. Just before we get going though, I just want to run through a few of the kind of common traffic problems that people have. And this is either, recent emails that I've got over the last couple of days as I've been going through this traffic stuff. It's stuff I've come across in the survey, that problems I know you guys have. It's stuff that I've learned myself, having spent, more than $1 million on buying traffic in my time. It's problems that I've encountered, and it's also problems more generally that I've got from speaking to other internet marketers. Now, the good news is that the method I'm about to show you essentially destroys all of these problems. But the first problem people have is it costs too much money to experiment. In particular with Facebook ads, you can find yourself very often spending $10, $20 on each campaign, not making any money, getting some traffic, getting a few likes, maybe one or two shares. And it can kind of become quite demoralizing, especially if you're doing it over and over again. Well, the good news with this particular method is we're going to start off by testing to a very small buyer audience. So instead of spending, $50 or $100 to test a campaign or to test a niche, we're going to be spending maybe $1, $2, $5, at the most $10, and we're only targeting buyers. So it's a very low risk method. But the good thing about this is that we're basically tapping into a constant stream of leads. And so if we do find a niche that works, we can just go back, target those exact same phrases, target the exact same niche, the exact same product, and basically just go back in a couple of times a week, spend a few dollars, make a good amount of money, more than what we've spent, and basically repeat it and kind of lock that campaign in and then look for other campaigns. So it's a very, very low risk way of getting traffic. And the second issue that people have is the fact it takes time to get traffic. Now, even if you're buying traffic from Facebook or Google, you still have to research the interests and the keywords. And obviously, if you're getting free traffic with either things like Google SEO, organic YouTube views, or optimizing for the Facebook newsfeed with posts, all of those things take a lot of time as well. The good thing about this is it's an incredibly simple method. It's automated, and it literally takes you a few minutes to go in, grab all these leads, import them back into Twitter. Very, very kind of quick and easy thing to do. However, all of these problems I've talked about come really down to one problem, which is that you're not making money from the traffic you're getting, and the reason for that is because the traffic isn't targeted. So I'm sure that people would be happy to spend $10 and make 20, or 100 and make 200, or 1,000 and make 2,000, and I'm sure people would be happy to put an hour in every day if they knew that they were going to get back $50 or $100. So really, these two issues are nothing compared to this issue, which is that you're not making money from the traffic you're getting, and the reason for that is because it's not targeted, and in particular there aren't related buyers within that stream of traffic that you're buying. Well, the good news with this method is we're only going to be targeting buyers and very, very targeted people who are very focused within that niche. And essentially what that means is it's like shooting fish in a barrel. It makes everything so much easier. You can make even mistakes in other areas and you're still going to profit because of how original and targeted the kind of method is. So just before I get started, a quick overview on Twitter profiting, and I've kind of given you a similar system to this previously when I talked about the basics of Twitter ads. Actually, the approach we're going to look at is pretty familiar to most people. It's similar to the one that we do with Facebook, and it's an easy 4-step process. The only difference is we're going to be looking at tailored audiences, which are these specific groups of people on Twitter, rather than sort of using interests like we would normally do on Facebook. So the first thing we want to do is to find a niche topic, and that could be a niche on Teespring, engineers or nurses. It could be a JVZoo niche, maybe video marketing or t-shirt marketing or SEO, whatever. Maybe you've got a product in mind, or indeed ClickBank. It could be your own service. Maybe you do consultancy, maybe you have your own info product, maybe you do work for other clients and you want to find leads for them. Then the second step is we want to find products, websites and phrases that are relevant to our offer. So these are things that only people within our niche would talk about, products that they've bought, experiences that they've had, or things that they're doing at the moment that they want to tweet about, that when we see them, we know that that person is someone who's bought a product ideally recently and is very much interested in the kind of things that we want to sell them. Then what we do is we use our automated software to extract the buyers who've tweeted about all of these things, and then finally we take that audience, upload it to Twitter, and we target it within an ad. And most importantly of all, we can then repeat this process both to the kind of campaigns that we found that we know work because we've got this constant stream of leads coming through, and also for other niches, because even if we don't necessarily know about a niche, it's worth our while to apply this approach because it's so powerful. So what I'm going to look at now is how we find these products or phrases, and there's a few kind of obvious ones that I'll start off with. So the first one is just a keyword, and for anyone who's used kind of Google or Facebook advertising before, you'll know how this works. You think of a phrase or a word that only someone within that niche would basically use. So in the case of, let's say it was the telescope niche, it would be, for example, someone who uses the word like telescope, or even better, my telescope, because you would only really use that phrase if you're talking about your own telescope. It could be something that people are doing, so for example, a verb, stargazing, it could be astronomy. It could be maybe even a specific star or a constellation, or if there's some kind of event that happens that people go to, it could be that as well. But that's basically keyword marketing, just like anyone who's used Google or Facebook would be familiar with. And of course, I'll give you some examples of that. But possibly two more interesting ones are the @username, which is like a Twitter handle, and the hashtag. And so the username is a very useful one, because what this means, if you ever see a tweet with an @username, it means that the person is basically tweeting at that person or at that account or at that brand. So for example, someone may tweet at Barack Obama, I'm a huge fan of yours. They may tweet at Coca-Cola, I've just bought one of your drinks. They may tweet at Amazon, your customer support sucks, for example. But in particular, if we find that people are tweeting a brand or a particular account that only relates to one thing, probably if they're tweeting a brand they've purchased, and they're going to be some kind of customer support or a testimonial, or a question, a pre-support question. But very often, if it's a brand or a company or a website, or a marketplace or a store, and someone's tweeting them, that person is either buyer or a potential buyer. So that's a really, really powerful one, and that's probably the simplest one, is just to find that @username for multiple products and brands within our niche. Another one is the hashtag, and this is kind of really interesting, and when it happens it can be absolutely huge basically. So let me just give you a quick example actually of the hashtag one. So just to give you some background on this, I think most people watching this are aware of Teespring, and most people who are aware of Teespring know that one of the biggest niches is the engineering niche basically. And there's just tons and tons of these that have sold. People have sold thousands and thousands of t-shirts basically. Within this niche, you can see here this one sold over 3,400 t-shirts, so we're talking like maybe $50,000 in gross sales off this one t-shirt. And there's lots and lots of examples of this kind of stuff. So this is another one: 2,400, 600, 700, 2,900, 2,000, 2,000, etc., etc., etc. But you can see there's probably maybe $300,000 worth of t-shirt sales within this niche just on this one page, and there's probably millions and millions of dollars more. But the reason I'm bringing this up is that at the moment there's this big Twitter trend which is going on, which is relating to this phrase, look like an engineer. And without going into too much detail, what basically happened was this girl here works for a company as an engineer, and so they wanted to do this kind of campaign, this promotional thing for her, and just get loads of their staff and just get them to wear a t-shirt and basically say, hey, I'm an engineer, I love my work, etc., etc., etc. But because she was, a lot of people said she didn't look like an engineer, there was this kind of backlash of people saying, oh, she's not an engineer, she's not credible, I don't believe she's an engineer, she doesn't look like one. And so what kind of happened was that all of these female engineers came out with this hashtag. She started it, I believe, hashtag I look like an engineer, which was kind of this rebuff to all these sexist people who didn't believe that who believed engineers had to look a certain way. And the reason that that's kind of relevant is because anyone who uses that particular hashtag, I look like an engineer, is going to be an engineer probably, and he's almost certainly, or there's a very good chance they're going to be a female engineer as well. So if we want to kind of target a sub niche here for the engineering niche, but target females, either with a t-shirt that says, I look like an engineer, or female engineer and proud, or something like that, then one of the easiest ways to do that would be with this particular hashtag. And the hashtag thing is kind of trend based, it doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's just a really good opportunity for us to kind of look at. Other obvious ones are my and then product or profession. So my telescope, my nursing, my engineering degree, love nursing, love engineering. So basically my and then a keyword, and love and then a keyword. Another one is to search for a keyword on Amazon. So for example, to search Amazon for the word telescope, the only thing I would say for that is that very often you'll want to look for phrases rather than just brands as such. Because people who put in at and then a brand are talking to the brand, but very often people who use just phrases randomly within their posts may well be sellers. They may well be people selling products rather than people who use or want products. Okay, now I'll show you some examples of this as we go through. The other thing we can do is we can look on Google, so we can search the keyword and then buy, so buy keyword. We can also search keyword store. And then there's also a tool called SEMrush, which is like a keyword intelligence tool, which we can use to generate a list of brands and products which we can either target with one of these, so hashtag brand, @brand, or just the brand itself. And then of course all of these things should be organic, so we're just going to build a list and kind of constantly tweak it as we go along. So it's not just that we have to build this list and then we quickly throw it into the system, and if it doesn't work then we're doomed. We can organically play with this and amend it and expand and change stuff as we go through the process. So I've looked at the hashtag idea. We've come up with a quick idea of how we could maybe sell a few hundred t-shirts just using this particular hashtag and by targeting that. We can also find, so you see here, this is like going back to our telescope idea. This is a NASA telescope, and anyone tweeting this and messaging this particular account is going to be interested in telescopes. You can see there's a good number of followers here. We can look at the word telescope on Google and just look at some of these websites. We've got telescope.com, so again, anyone tweeting at telescope.com or at telescope or at telescopes.com or at space.com or any of these is probably going to be targeted. Celestron, that's a brand of telescopes. We could target those people as well. And then we can also put the search term in on SEMrush and look for related terms: Hubble telescope, Orion telescopes, that kind of thing. And you'll see that I'll also bring up a list of people who are buying traffic, which is a really, really good angle of brands that we can target, and also people who are ranking organically as well for those terms. But what I actually want to show you now is how the method works. And just before we do that, just before I show you an example of the software, just want to kind of give you a quick overview of the process. Firstly, I've just got this created literally yesterday. This is the newest version, so this is moving incredibly quickly, and I really wanted to get into your hands as soon as I kind of developed it. So this is ultra fresh. It's literally just appeared on the on the whole internet yesterday basically. But I have been working with Twitter for a while now, and I've been experimenting with lots of different things. And really what I've been trying to do is to find an automated angle to find buyers, to find a constant stream of buyers. That's been something I've been looking at. If you've been following me, I've looked at YouTube, I've looked at Twitter, I've looked at Google, I've looked at Facebook, spent well over $1 million online, and I've never been as excited about a traffic getting method as I am about this. And basically what it allows us to do is to automatically extract recent buyers from Twitter with literally just one click. And we can enter up to 4 keywords at once, which basically allows us to extract 800 users with each one click, with each search. And the way it works is it searches through billions of recent tweets based on these keywords that we enter. Then we filter the users that we want, skip people we don't want, download the list, and then finally we import the list as an audience into Twitter and target it with an ad. And as I've mentioned, you can scale this across multiple niches, multiple money-making methods, whether it's Teespring, JVZoo, offline business, whatever your thing is. And best of all, the leads change. Okay, so once you've found a stream of leads that works, you found a set of key phrases that always find buyers, you can just go back in every few days and kind of turn it into a lucrative little hobby where you just go back in, extract the leads, run the campaign again, knowing that you're going to get that constant positive ROI. So this is how the software works essentially, and you can see that we have 5 form fields at the top. I just mentioned there were 4, but we've just added this additional one today. And you basically just enter phrases or keywords into the top here, and what you can do is as you go through, you can just click on this little Twitter icon and it will load up Twitter, and you can kind of preview before you actually run the search. You can just preview and see if that's a phrase that you actually want to search. So I mean, this person here, for example, tweeted 19 minutes ago, tried my hand at telescope photography last night, not a bad start. The same thing here. Oh no, my telescope broke again. So there's kind of a few of these that aren't really appropriate, which I'll show you how to remove in a second. But there's just tons and tons of these people here who are really, really kind of targeted and are basically talking about the phrase my telescope. So I'll include that one. We've got telescope.com, which is a website which I just showed you how we found. Telescopes.com, at Bad Astronomer, which is an account. So basically anyone who used that phrase is going to be messaging this particular account here. And then we have hashtag telescope as well. So I'm just going to click search. We've already done the search, but I just want to do search it again just to show you how quick the tool is. And you can see in just a few moments it goes off and extracts all of the people who've used those phrases. So you can see that we've got 475 people. If I just click on this now, it'll basically just download the file. It'll download all of these users. But what we can also do is we can go through to the user. We can see the number of people who they're following, the number of people who are following them. We can see the username. We can see when this was tweeted, 4 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, etc., etc. The keywords that we've entered are in yellow, so we can easily preview them. And then basically what I suggest you do, the way that you should approach it, is rather than just downloading everyone, we have this option to download all except skipped. And you'll see that not all of these people are relevant. So for example, I think my neighbor is stalking me. She's been Googling my name on her computer. I saw it through my telescope. So obviously that's kind of a joke. It's funny, but it's not really relevant. And so what we want to do is to kind of skip this one. So that's now been removed, and you can see that we now have 474 because we've skipped one of them basically. So we can just kind of go through, and the cool thing about the way this is set up is our mouse cursor doesn't really need to move too much. So if you see, I can just kind of click and just kind of go through and quickly glance across and see which of these people are relevant basically. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but you can see in just a few seconds there, I've probably gone through about an average of maybe 1 or 2 a second. And what you can do is you can just scroll all the way through if you prefer to, and just kind of glance and then just remove the odd person that you doesn't think is relevant. Of course, the easiest way to do it is to literally just right at the start click all tweets and do that. What we can also do is we can also filter keywords and get those to appear first. So if we click on buy, for example, and then put that in there, then it'll then bring up people who use the phrase buy and also use the phrase telescope first. So I was looking to buy Stargate SG-1 episodes. So this is kind of a sci-fi person who's also interested in astronomy. I wanted to buy it but need to save money to buy stuff for my telescope. I mean, that is just, that is someone who's literally said that the only thing he wants to buy is add-ons and accessories for his telescope. So I mean, it does not get any more targeted than that. In the same way, we can also exclude people who we want to appear last. So for example, if people are using a phrase here, let's say it's a joke or something that's constantly being retweeted, we can put that there, put one of the words there, and those people will then appear at the bottom and will basically not get added. And then we can also, of course, include people who've fallen into that filter. So hopefully that kind of gives you an overview of how the tool works. As you can see, it's just the easiest way to kind of extract buyer leads that's ever been invented, I think. There's no guesswork. We're only targeting proven, engaged, recent buyers. There's no uncertainty over the niches. You can basically let the buyers and let the phrases that you discover dictate the niches. There's no more wasted money. You can test a niche idea very, very cheaply. And there's no confusion, no complication. It's one single, simple traffic getting method. There's no time wasting. As I've shown you, it takes just a few seconds to run a search. And there's basically no excuses not to take action with this and profit with traffic. So let me give you a couple more examples. In the previous example, it was kind of that we wanted to sell a telescope, I suppose. In this example, I'm going to assume that we're looking for freelancers who we can maybe sell some kind of internet marketing service to. So possibly something of how you can get more freelancing gigs, possibly some kind of way to help them with their business. But you can see I've searched Fiverr gig at Fiverr, Hire Me, Elance.com and Upwork.com. And you can see that, you know, the people who come up are basically all targeted to, they're all freelancers essentially. So this person here is a Photoshop expert. This person here is a logo designer. This person here, I don't quite know, but they're on Fiverr. They'll give you an ID card for $5, Photoshop expert, so on and so forth. But the cool thing about this as well is if I scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see that basically all of these tweets are like from pretty recently. So we're talking a few hours ago. So if I scroll kind of up, you'll see 5 hours. These are basically all from the last kind of 6 hours. So you can see that this is basically bringing in probably around, these sets of tweets are probably bringing in around 1,400 approximately, maybe 1,600 users per day that we could target. And so if we can go in twice a day and extract all of these users and import them as lists, we can basically have this constant stream of leads constantly coming in for this particular niche. As well as that, it's an incredibly fast tool. It means that we can go from coming up with an idea to testing it and seeing if we get results from the tool in just a few minutes. It's way easier than any other traffic getting method that I've ever come across. Like I said before, there's zero competition because no one in the world is doing this. It's incredibly versatile. It applies to any niche that you can think of, any business model. And as I've said, incredibly importantly, it's repeatable because the leads constantly change. So you can just check back in daily and extract those new leads. Anyone can do this. It works on software and Mac. It works on PC and Mac as well. Just give you one more example. This is assuming that we wanted to sell a ClickBank dieting offer. So one thing that you'll find is we can kind of do searches here and just put some keywords in, and then we can just quickly click on this. So I think this one originally started off as Weight Watchers, which is like a dieting club. So I think people pay like, you know, $30 a month to be a member of this dieting club. So we just click on the Twitter icon to just check on Twitter and see if it's something we want to search. And then basically what happened was I was just kind of scrolling through these tweets, and I saw that quite a few people were using the phrase Weight Watchers app. So they were saying things like, you know, the app doesn't work, the app's broken, something to that effect basically. And so what I did was when I saw that, I went back and just put the word app in. And if we just click on this again, you'll see that, you know, I mean, look at this person. I love my Fitbit. Well, that's basically like a fitness monitor that costs maybe like 100, 200 bucks. So this person is definitely a targeted dieting kind of lead. I love my Fitbit. It's encouraged me to move more. Love that it links in MyFitnessPal. Well, presumably this is another product and the Weight Watchers app. So I mean, this person is basically within one tweet said that they've probably made 3 purchases relating to dieting. Again, this person's got the app. And so on and so forth. So these are basically all targeted leads that we can target. We've then got low calorie, which is an example of a keyword phrase. We have Beyond Diet, which is a ClickBank offer. You'll notice that I've put this in the brackets, which means that it has to be used in that kind of combination there. My body fat, which is another key phrase, and lost weight as well, which is kind of another key phrase. And before I move on, I just want to mention we have this advanced search link, and one of the cool things about the tool is we can do all these crazy searches. So we can, you know, have references to people, we can have or tags, we can contain a certain word but not another word, we can do hashtags, we can also even have negative and positive attitudes, and we can also include questions as well. So there's just tons of kind of advanced targeting that we can do with these searches. And again, we can kind of, you know, combine these, so we can have some that are positive, some that are negative, some that are the @ sign, you know, some that have got a phrase in the end, some that are the @ sign, some that are hashtags. Then we can just repeat, you know, have 5 searches we do, and then do another 5 searches, and do that twice a day to kind of constantly extract these leads in a very targeted way. Then we're just going to do one final example, which is looking for internet marketers basically. So these are people who would be tweeting affiliate links because they want to try and make money and generate affiliate commissions. So we've just put in clickbank.net, JVZoo 7, 1, 3 and 2, which are JVZoo's tracking links. And you can see that it's basically brought up a list of all these different tracking links, and these people are basically all internet marketers that would want to target these particular phrases. And then there is one final example that I almost forgot about, which is the Teespring niche. And you can see the way we approach that is we take our keyword and we put in this case it's the nurse niche I'm looking at. We put in nurse, Teespring, nurse shirt, nurse eBay, nurse Zazzle, nurse gift. And you can see straight away that the people coming up here are basically retweeting Teespring t-shirts. And essentially, basically, people who've bought or have tweeted a Teespring t-shirt or a t-shirt possibly on another platform. Not necessarily just t-shirt, but also, Sumfrog, Instagram, Zazzle, all these kinds of different sites. And then we can basically just apply the exact same thing and go through and extract all of these people, basically knowing that there's a good chance that they're all recent buyers. So you can see, 9 hours ago, 9 days ago, 2 hours ago, these are incredibly recent buys that we can target. So, hopefully I've given you a few examples there to show you how serious this thing is and how flexible and versatile it is. But the name of the offer is Social Titan, okay? And take it from someone that spent well over $1 million buying traffic. This is the most targeted, most versatile, most flexible, most profitable, scalable, easy and automated solution for getting traffic that I've ever come across. But certainly it's the most targeted way, and right now this is the only way to find recent buyers online using anything approaching this kind of automation scalability. Now it's going to go live tomorrow. I'm going to open it up for a few hours, and I'm going to give you access as a Titan member to the software tool at a very low discounted price. Keep your eye out for the inbox for more info. I did say yesterday if you wanted to get early access to reply to the email and I'll add you to the waiting list. I've received probably well over 30 people who have replied, and I've not had a chance to reply to everyone, but I will certainly do my best to reply later on today. But just be aware this is an incredibly limited offer. Okay, so the app can only run on so many searches per day, and this isn't a limit that I've made up. This is a limit that Twitter has put on the functionality of the tool. It is compliant. It does work through Twitter's own system, which is good because it's best that we do things white hat and compliant. But it does of course mean that there are these limitations. So I can only allow so many people in. Now I've explained why Twitter's the future, in particular with this new Social Titan method, and tomorrow I'm going to open it up for a handful of people. So hopefully this explains how the tool works. Hopefully you're as excited about this as I am, and hopefully you're already thinking of different ways that you could approach this and turn this into a repeatable, scalable, frankly licensed to print money. So thanks for watching. If you're interested, you want to get added to the list, hit reply. There's only going to be so many licenses that will be available tomorrow. So thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.